Hi everyone, and welcome to VENU's weekly cricket catch-up. I'm joined with Fizan again. How are you, Fizan?
I'm good. I'm good. Just watching a lot of PSL recently, and I was planning to watch the Test match, but I'm sure we're going to touch upon that quite a bit. But obviously, over in 2 days, and there's Australia versus New Zealand T20 series going on, so the timings are crazy for us here in the UK. So yeah, but it's been good. A lot of cricket going on. Some fantastic, drama as well, and just a lot to talk about, which is good. Good to see. That's for sure.
Yeah, as you say, there's been a lot of cricket on at the moment. But I was going to start off with the India-England Test match, but I thought after just watching the PSL match just now, I thought let's start with that because what a match that was between Lahore Qalandars and Karachi Kings. What a match! I just one of the best T20 matches I've seen for a while. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I literally just have come off live streaming it, and first of all, just amazing to have so many people on. But just second of all, as you said, the match was just topsy turvy to say the least. It really was like the 11th straight time that a team has bowled first and managed to chase a total, which is absolute carnage. Like, how has that happened? And Karachi had Lahore 0 for 2. Mohammad Amir, started off so brilliantly for Karachi, and to be honest, it looked like they would be the first team to actually defend a total in this PSL so far.
Yeah.
But Fakhar Zaman and Ben Dunk, the two lefties, just put on a ridiculous partnership and managed to pull them back into the game. And next thing you know, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it got down to the wire really in the last couple of overs, and Karachi looked like they'd do a good job. A couple of tight overs from Mohammad Amir and Dan Christian, and then they had a bit of a fortunate over, Lahore, to be honest, in the penultimate over, like inside edges, outside edges, all sorts. And then David Luiz finished it off with a fantastic 6 in that over, and it set up the last one nicely, where they only needed 10 off it. So it was a roller coaster match, to say the least, but a fantastic victory nonetheless for Lahore. And as we're both Lahore fans, obviously we're happy. But yeah, I mean, Karachi will feel a bit hard done by, a little bit unfortunate, but a fantastic match to watch.
Yeah, it was a great match and a great advertisement for the PSL because it was fantastic. And Lahore are top of the table. Well, they're second actually. They're 6 points, so they've played 4 games, lost 1-3 and lost 1. And Peshawar Zalmi also 1-3 and lost 1. They're top of the table because they've got a superior net run rate. So yeah, that was a fantastic match today. And also yesterday. So the Karachi Kings, they're playing 2 days in a row, aren't they, Fizan?
Yeah, they played 2 days in a row.
They posted 198 after Azam hit 90 not out and Clark 54. And once again, the chasing side, Martin Sultan's chased down 195. The one by the wickets thanks to James Vince's 45 and Mohammed Rizwan's 43. And it was just another team successfully chasing the score. So as you said, Fizan, as you alluded to it earlier, that defending team hasn't won the PSL yet, and hasn't won a match in the PSL, which is so bizarre.
It is bizarre. It's so strange, and historically, Pakistan have been known for struggling in chases. So the fact that every team has chased so far just makes you think, what's going on? But good to a degree, because obviously it means that people are gaining confidence chasing, but it's just strange. I think the pitch in Karachi has definitely got flatter, and obviously because they're not able to play in lots of different stadiums like they normally would do, so that's definitely a factor. But I'm assuming once we move to Lahore, which I think is 10th of March, it will be a bit more, bowler friendly in the sense that I think it'll be harder to chase down scores. But let's see. I do think nowadays as well, chasing, unless it's something over 200, most teams will back themselves with the hits they've got on the teams, especially in franchise cricket and, of course, internationally as well. So I just think that penultimate over really summed it up for me today in that Karachi Kings versus Lahore match. Like, he bowled so well, Mohammad Amir, in that over, and he went for what did he go for? He went 6-4-4, 4, I think. So 6-4-4. So he went for 14 at least in that over. And Usher says PSL is awesome. Yes, the PSL has been awesome so far, and yeah, just been a great advocate, and it's been amazing to see. When I was doing a stream, like we saw so many fantastic people come on, and not just from Pakistan, but we had a lot of people from India, which is amazing. Who are watching it, tuning in as well, and obviously from the UK and all walks of life, and it was just good entertainment. Of course, will never beat international cricket, but as a spectacle, the excitement's there, and I think it's a second best. I think.
Yeah, it was a great advertisement for PSL the match. So yeah, I've been really enjoying the PSL, and also the spirit it's played as well. I've been really impressed with, and some good competitive matches, and that's all you want, right? So that's the PSL kind of wrapped up. Let's move on to the India-England Test match, which was over inside 6 sessions in 2 days, basically. So out of the 30 wickets that fell through the course of 2 days in Ahmedabad, how many went to spinners, Fazan?
28.
28 went to spinners. And the third Test match was a day-night match at Ahmedabad. Basically, England, I think they won the toss and decided to bat. And England got 112 in the first innings, and India got 145 in their first innings. And and thanks to Joe Root got 5 wickets for 8 runs, where Jack Leach got 4 wickets for 54 runs. And when England batted the second time, Axar Patel kind of bowled really well and got them all out for 81. He got 5 for 32, and India just needed 49 to win the match, and they got that really easily without any loss. So they won by 10 wickets. And there was quite a big debate about the pitch, which I'm sure you've already spoken about before, Fazan. And it was quite interesting because most of the batsmen were done by the straighter ball. And yeah, what did you think about that, Fazan? Because it was quite an interesting pitch. Yes, I do believe the home side should decide on what pitch they play on, but a test match getting done under 2 days is not ideal, is it?
No, it's a shocker, to be honest with you. To be done in I don't know, just to be done in 2 days is it's the first time to happen since World War II or something. I think it's only happened 4 times since World War II. First time since like 1930 something, I think it was. Yeah, look, to be honest with you, just to be very brief, because I think my thoughts on it, and I think I don't really care who wins the match, if I'm being honest with you, in the sense that when I look at it, if England won that in 2 days and it was seeming friendly conditions, I would say exactly the same thing. And my thoughts on it are there's a couple of points. The first one is you should be preparing a pitch that has the capability to last at least 5 days even, which this pitch clearly didn't have. I mean, you've got 2 players on the pitch, Kohli and Root, who are 2 of the best players of spin in the world, 2 of the best players in the world as well, just looking stupid, really. Like they're looking like they're like 12-year-old. They're looking at their 5-year-olds playing against adults, which is just like crazy to see. And there was clearly a disparity between bat and ball, which I've said in the past, and I'm a big advocate for saying that bowlers should get bigger advantages in cricket. But this was more like it's just like a bloodbath. It really was 28 wickets going to spinners. And as you said, I think it's important to touch upon that a lot of the deliveries that people got out to were straighter balls, and I think from arm balls or sliders, and that's just because the lacquer on the ball and the pink ball meant that the track that was prepared was so dusty that as soon as it pitched, it sped up off the surface a lot more than a normal ball would, a red or white ball. And that meant that as a batsman, right, if the ball's coming at you 2-3 miles per hour quicker, that is a big difference from what you're normally expecting, right? Which is why people are getting trapped LBW, getting bowled, or just completely missing the ball completely. And that's why that came about. And that then leads me nicely onto preparation of the pitch. And the ICC are investigating it, that they can't actually find the groundsman, which I think is a bit strange. Well, it's very strange. But I'm sure they will find them at some point. But they don't have any docs around like who's prepared it. But yeah, look, either way, I don't think India did it on purpose. If I'm being honest with you, despite what the Indian players have come out and said it's fine to play on, it's definitely not fine to play on. They're saying it because they don't want their victory to be taken away from them, which is I can understand. Because at the end of the day, they won fair and square. It was a pitch that, when I say won fair and square, it's a pitch that obviously both teams had to play on. So that's what I mean. Like, you take nothing away from their victory. They won. They were the better team. But I think in terms of a test spectacle, the pitch as well, like for anyone to say that the batsman should have played better is just like in my opinion, just a joke. Because it was so hard to play on. I think there was I think it was Usher actually sent that video in the chat, and that guy analysed it, and they showed 6 different deliveries from Ravi Ashwin that all pitched in a very similar spot at a very similar speed, and it showed the deviation, and all 6 of the deliveries were like, some were going towards like fine leg, the others were going towards third man, which is just carnage, which just makes you think like the pitch was just so unpredictable. So as a batsman, it's almost impossible to get set up on it. Yeah, so I just think it's not. I personally don't think it's good for the game in terms of you don't want loads of test matches like this. Yeah, it was. Some people said it was exciting for 2 days. Okay, I can get that. I can get there was a bit of excitement around it, but at the end of the day, if it was seem friendly like that as well, I'd kind of be like, what's going on here? If it's over in 2 days, I was thinking I wanted to watch it with you on the Saturday. Like that didn't happen. And that was day 4, right? That would have been day 4, I think. So yeah, it was disappointing, I think. For me personally, just the state of the pitch was just carnage, to say the least. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, there's lots of different thoughts on it. People have different opinions on it. But what to me really resonated with me is the fact that ex-Indian players. So I've seen Yuvraj Singh, VVS Lakshman, and Harbhajan Singh have all come out and said the pitch was poor. So ex-Indian players coming out and saying it's poor, then to me makes me think that actually my reading of the situation is correct. Obviously, Adam Cook said it, but he's an ex-England player, and England lost. So he's going to say that. Although I say he's going to say that, I think he's pretty fair. What he said was right in this case, but there might be a bit biased there. But for ex-Indian players, there isn't. So for me personally, that's my thoughts on it anyway.
Yeah, and it was quite funny what Ashwin said about he kind of hit back at the critics saying, you know, what defines a good pitch? And I saw that as like, that's typical Ashwin, isn't it? Quite.
He's very divisive, isn't he? Like with the whole Mankat situation as well. And to be honest with you, and unfortunately, I'm going to sound really controversial, but the whole Mankat situation then makes me think, well, then he doesn't play the game in the spirit that should be played anyway. So then I don't really want to listen to him because he's a bad role model for kids anyway. And also the way he addressed the media was really poor. Like for someone who's a professional cricketer, like he was really defensive and aggressive, and it definitely triggered him. And I'm sorry, but like no one should be acting like that. I've seen Pakistani players, like for example, in the PSL, Safraz Ahmed, like he shouts at bowlers after they get hit for a boundary. That's poor behavior as well. Like people need to realize that kids, they watch. They watch like they watch this constantly, right? And they look up to these players, and I just don't think it's acceptable personally.
Yeah, it's a good point, but we'll just say same with tennis players breaking their racket, having tantrums on the field.
Yeah, I would.
On the court. Even Nick Kyrgios in his press conferences and stuff.
Yeah, in the press conference, if he's rude, then he shouldn't be rude. He shouldn't be rude at all. In the press conference, when it's not in the heat of, like for example, if Ashwin was giving grief to someone on the field, I'd say, okay, fine, that happens. But after the match, you're not in the heat of battle, you're not in the heat of competition. Like he's sitting in the media room, it's all calmed down. Like someone asked him a pretty normal question, and the way he addressed it was really poor.
Oh yeah, I agree. No, he did. It was poor how he addressed it, but I just think journalists are out there to get clickbait and like.
Yeah, but players should expect that.
Players to say the wrong things and get them into trouble and things like that, and just like I think it's all right for players to actually stand up for themselves and say, you know what, that's not.
But they weren't attacking him though. It wasn't a personal attack on him. What was it to do with it? Was it a personal attack on him? They weren't like, oh, by the way, your wickets, they were really lucky, weren't they? No, they just asked like, what do you think of the pitch? It was an open-ended question. All you had to say was, actually, personally, like Rohit Sharma came out and said, I thought the pitch was okay. Fine, up to him, right? But he wasn't rude about it. He just said, I thought it was okay. Virat Kohli said, I thought it was okay. Why did Ashwin have to say, let me ask you a question? Like he's some kind of like, you know what I mean? It's just so arrogant. Let me ask you a question. No, how about you answer the question rather than getting defensive? And like, there's a reason why people don't like him because he says stuff like this. And for him to talk about, oh, pitches shouldn't have to play X, Y, Z. Yeah, but the Ahmedabad pitch never played like that previously. And now they've put out this strip. They can't even find the groundsman. It's been over in 2 days. And his comparison was complete rubbish because at the end of the day, like he can't name the last time a match finished in 2 days. And for him to sit there and say, oh, the batsmen didn't apply themselves. Well, why didn't you get runs then? Why didn't he get runs? He scored 100 in the series. Why couldn't he score any runs in this match? Says it all to me. Because he's supposed to be some great player, which he is. He's a fantastic player, by the way. One of the best all-rounders in world cricket, in Test cricket at the moment. Yeah, he couldn't score, 10 runs?
It doesn't matter that India still won.
What do you mean, does it matter? No, but that's not my point, though, Venu. But, okay, so India still won, so why is he getting defensive?
I think it adds to the spectacle.
No, it's just called rude. He's got no manners, no etiquette. And unfortunately, like in my opinion, it's just my opinion. You might disagree, but like kids watching that, it's just shocking, and it's circulating everywhere. It is shocking. It is shocking, Venu. Like it is. I'm sorry, but okay, Venu, if you asked a kid at school, and then they said, "Let me ask you a question," and they talked to you like that, would you be happy with it? No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
I mean, you can't tell me that. But that's.
Yeah, but so what do you mean? But Venu, that's the whole point, though. But they're adults; so they should be talking to each other like adults. Yeah, he can't speak to someone like a normal human being.
I don't think he was being. I thought he was just being honest. I don't think.
No, there's being honest and there's being rude, and that's just rude. He didn't need to say it like that, but he thought I'll say it like this because I'm an Ashwin, and I've got here. Harris says Ashwin is cringe. He just wanted to seem smart. Sums it up for me. You can disagree, Venu. I'm not saying you have to agree with me. I'm just telling you my opinion on it. And I as I said, I think he's a fantastic player. I've got nothing against him as a player, but like when he does stuff like that, it makes me think it's poor. Like, was there any need for that? And you say like it adds to the intrigue and entertainment, but then you just said if Kyrgios did it in the media room, you wouldn't be happy with it. So then you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, it's fine for Ashwin to do it, but because you like him, because he's whatever, he's Tamil, like he's a good player, but then Kyrgios can't do it. Like it doesn't work like that. Like you have to be consistent with it. And I would say that about anyone. I even said to you on the pitch, I don't like Safraz Ahmed shouting at like bowlers when they get hit for 4. So I'm definitely not going to be happy with Ashwin in the media room when there's no need to be like that, being like defensive and getting triggered. And he did get triggered, and it just showed that yeah, I mean Harris is saying Ashwin wouldn't answer like that if the pitch was fine. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like that's kind of what it makes me think. Like, would he really talk like that if the pitch was fine? No, he would have just said, "Well, the pitch was fine," and he could have said that. Rohit Sharma did it. He's clever. I think he's very good with the media. He's definitely very confident, and he's got slight arrogance, but he knows how to address the media correctly. And he just said, "Pitch is fine," and he can say that he scored runs on it. Kohli said, "Pitch is fine." Batsmen didn't apply themselves, but Ashwin couldn't say it like that. I thought he was just rude, in my opinion.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, so
let's move on. It's like enough of that. Just to touch upon this, Charles says England beat India in a 2-day test to go 2-1. Am I in a Christopher Nolan movie? Yeah. Inception. Back in time.
What do you mean by Christopher Nolan movie?
As in, like, we've gone back in time. So, Charlie, I think you have been on here before, but Benny's going to catch up. We're rounding up the weekly news. VENU does it. It's a fantastic segment he does, so stay tuned. We also do weekly awards VENU does weekly awards at the end as well. VENU, I feel like you want to say something about the Ashwin thing.
No, I just want to move on because let's move on. There's no point talking about it.
That's fine. Go for it.
So the next series I want to talk about is a New Zealand Australia series, the T20 series, which is so the first T20 international. Devon Conway hit an unbeaten 99, and
My boy, Devon Conway, I love him.
Yeah, sets up crushing open a victory for New Zealand, and basically got New Zealand to 184 for 5. And yeah, he was smashing it. He looked so good, didn't he, Fazan? And very impressive player. And you said he was a player to watch out for, and he's a player to watch out for sure. And Australia only managed 131, and they got humiliated by losing by 53 runs at the Hagley Oval, and it's the biggest ever margin of victory over in the contest in T20 international between New Zealand and Australia, which is impressive. And the second T20 international, they also won. So Martin Guptill returned to form with a 97, and New Zealand survived despite Stoinis and Sam's onslaught at the end. They managed to defend 219, and that means they lead the series 2-0. And it was quite an impressive victory, and it just shows New Zealand are looking really good for the World Cup, the T20 World Cup later on this year. So they're probably one of the favourites to win it, I'll say.
Yeah, I think I picked them. I think. I mean, it'll be tough, obviously, because it's spinning conditions potentially in a subcontinent India. But yeah, they're in fantastic form. I mean, they are. Yeah, they're 2-0 up, and it's going to be hard to beat them. Australia have got a slightly weakened side. No Steve Smith. I think a couple of us. No Mitchell Stark, Pat Cummins. So they're resting a few players. New Zealand have got their full strength side. We know how strong they are. So they are just. I mean, they're in incredible form, and obviously they're in the final of the World Test Championship as well. So they'll be meeting whoever, India or England. India or Australia in the final at Lord's. So that'll be interesting. And in all formats, they're incredible, man. They really are. I'm just going to read through these. We don't need to address these, but just so people know. Charles says India's players' attitude is just an indicator where BCCI stands in world cricket. Also, they are trying to play the optics with cheap nationalism. Thanks to Charles for the comment. And Hara says Yuvraj Singh himself said the pitch was bad. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Venu, carry on.
Thank you. So let's talk about the next series. So New Zealand women are currently playing England women in New Zealand. And so in the third ODI, New Zealand women won the first match of the series after England won the first two matches quite convincingly, to be honest. So in the third ODI, Amy Satterthwaite and Amelia Kerr Satterthwaite became New Zealand's second highest ODI run scorer during her unbeaten century, and New Zealand women posted 223, and England could only manage 220 in the chase. And Satterthwaite became the third New Zealand batter to pass 4,000 ODI runs and was second place overall behind Susie Bates. And yeah, it's been quite a quality series so far, and England won the first two ODI. So they won the first ODI by 8 wickets. And Tammy Bowman's playing really well as well. I think she's one of my favourite players in the women's game. And they won the second ODI and won by 7 wickets, which was really good. And I think that ends the ODI series. So England won that 2-1. And on, I believe, Wednesday, the first T20 international starts. And I think they're gearing up for the Women's World Cup 50 over format. Either end of this year or next year. So England are looking good to defend that title next year.
Yeah, women's game is good. It's ODI World Cup next summer?
I think it's next year, yeah.
Yeah, so ODI World Cup next summer, and can't wait for that. That'll be good, and it's good to see the state of women's game and just cricket in general. I think is in a good state. Obviously, we've seen some fantastic test wins. India obviously beating Australia at the Gabba, and then West Indies against Bangladesh. And then look at just despite all the controversy around it, it's still got people talking, the pitch thing, hasn't it? And then obviously we're seeing here in women's cricket, women's cricket is growing substantially, so it's really good to see. I think cricket in general is growing as a sport, so hopefully it can continue to grow in the correct fashion. But it's really good to see, I think, women's cricket. I'm hoping it gets more screen time and people appreciate it more. I'm sure they will.
And I'm sure you start live streaming the matches as well, Fizan.
Yeah, gosh. I mean, if I can even find time to, I can't even find time to live stream any matches at the moment. But yeah, fingers crossed. I'll tell you what, if they do the Women's World Cup, yeah, I might try and do some of that actually. That'd be really good fun next year. So let's see if we can do that. That'd be really good fun. Why not? Why not? I try and juggle all three sports and do live streams equally, but it's going to be damn hard, I'm sure, at some point. But so far, so good. And Charles says here, I think women's cricket has picked up quite a lot since the Lord's final and then the packed house of the MCG, which VENU we put as our T20 moment of the year, didn't we? In our 2020 annual award.
Yeah, it's good and quality, and it's like it's cricket at the end of the day, and it's a good watch and some good competitive matches, and that's all what we want really as cricket fans.
Yeah, like it doesn't really matter if they're to a degree if they're bowling 90 miles per hour, etc. Because if you have two teams that are pretty evenly matched and they put on a competitive display, the skill involved is still there.
Yeah,
and, for everyone to see. So I think that's important. And yeah, as Charles rightly said, the packed house at MCG, the Australia versus West Indies T20 final, definitely has helped propel women's cricket. Are you going to touch upon the Rory Burns and the England women's controversy?
It's not really a controversy, really. I just think I don't think it's news, to be honest.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think? It was just nothing really in it?
Nothing really in it. It's like, like the media like to pick up on so-called spats, and it's just like it's nothing. It's like
I don't think it was a spat. To be fair, yeah, I thought it was a bit inappropriate. Like it wasn't the right thing to say. But it was probably a poor choice of words. She probably thought it would go down as something funny, but obviously after getting battered like that, probably wasn't the right thing to say. And obviously, like some of the England players got triggered from the men's, but yeah,
that's why I say from social media, I just don't think it's a good environment. And if I was a cricket player, I wouldn't, or any sports player, I would stay away from social media. I don't think it's a good platform to be on, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I personally, so I echo those views in a way, but also I think it can be used in the correct way. And I think if people use it sensibly and use it to for example, a lot of the ECB pushed the women's game through social media quite a bit, and that helps, I think. And a lot of the England women's players have got social media. That helps, I think. And I think it's difficult, but I feel like if you're a professional player, you've got to be careful not to mix your personal with the professional. That makes sense. And if you do that, then you can use social media effectively to help grow the game in the correct way, I think. But it's definitely a delicate balancing act, as you're saying, VENU. So I think, you got to find the right balance, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's right for you to. If I was a player, I wouldn't really check the media, newspapers, personally. But yeah, that's important. I think that is a debate worth having, to be honest, Fizan.
Yeah, we can actually, for sure. Maybe even if we've got time, otherwise definitely another day. And Charles says here, it's essential that ICC doesn't tamper with the basic elements of the game with the women's cricket just to make it more attractive, like many American sports did. It's good the way it is. I think we can both agree on that, VENU, can't we?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fine as it is, and I think what's good is that the first game of the 100 that's launching in England later on is going to be a women's game. So, and they're going to do double headers. So either the men or women play, and then the same fixture, but for the men's will be played.
Oh, really?
I think so. So that'll be quite good. So,
that'll be good.
Like you could watch both games at the same time. Well, not the same time, but on the same day on the same venue. So I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully, if restrictions go away, and we can hopefully go to some of the matches at the Oval potentially in the summer. So that'd be good. So moving on. So due to COVID-19, New Zealand cricket have moved matches to Wellington for the Australia as Auckland goes into lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So the remaining matches involving Australia men's team and England women's side will be played behind closed doors. and that means that just to make sure that transmission doesn't occur at a fast rate, they've moved it behind closed doors. But to be honest, I've been quite impressed how cricket has managed the COVID-19 pandemic and managed still to host series, hosts, like tournaments. I think I've been really impressed. So hopefully this series in New Zealand will still go ahead, because it's going to be so far quite a competitive game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So in terms of some few more points, and we'll do our weekly awards. So the West Indies Sri Lanka series is going to commence soon. So Fidel Edwards has been named the T20 squad for the series against Sri Lanka, including Chris Hale, while Akil Hussain and Kevin Sinclair have received maiden call-ups. So I'm really looking forward to that series, especially as I think West Indies are looking forward to defend their T20 World Cup after they won it. Was that when Carlos Braithwaite absolutely tonked Ben Stokes?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's quite a while back. But
no, that wasn't, was it? No, I think no, that wasn't. That was the first one they won, I think. I think it was before. But yeah, I think it's interesting because like Akil Hussain is really good. I've seen him I saw him in the ODIs against Bangladesh. He did really well, left arm spinner. And Chris Gale's been recalled. So it looks like he's going to be playing in the World T20 if his form's there. So he was in the PSL, and rightly so. I'm happy he did this. He said, actually, I'm going to make myself available for Sri Lanka. So he played a couple of games for Quetta in the PSL. Now he's going to Sri Lanka, and I'm assuming he'll play for West Indies because he's in good form. They've got Dwayne Bravo, Nicholas Pooran, Fidel Edwards, obviously said got recalled. A couple of people are not there, like Sheldon Cottrell or Shane Thomas. They weren't fit enough. They didn't pass their fitness tests. And Andre Russell's recovering from COVID. So, but West Indies have got a damn strong side, I tell you. Don't write them off. And as you said, they're the reigning champions, and I wouldn't write them off in this year's T20. I think they're definitely one of the dark horses for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Along with Pakistan, I think West Indies look good. Definitely. So Angela, let's talk about Sri Lanka for a bit. So Angela Matthews to be Sri Lanka's standing captain for T20 series against West Indies. And that's because Dustin Shankar, the appointed captain, is yet to join the team because of delay in obtaining a US transit visa. So Angelo, he's done it before, so I'm sure he'll do a good job. And to add to that, Tom Moody was named as Sri Lanka's director of cricket, and he was appointed today actually. And it was 2016 when West Indies last won it. So just looking interesting period of transition for Sri Lanka, and I'm really looking forward to how they do. And I think the first match, let me check. The first match, I believe, is sometime.
I think it's Thursday, or I think.
Yeah, but the timings are really annoying.
It's 10 p.m. I think.
I'm not doing that. So,
Cash says it was 2016 was Brathwaite versus Stokes. Yeah.
So that was the last time the T20 World Cup was on, I think.
Really?
It was 2016. 100%.
Oh, was there not one in 2018?
No.
Oh, I think they did it 4 years, but now they're trying to do it every 2 years, aren't they?
They've changed it now. Just more and more cricket seems to be now. But anyway, can't complain. So looking forward to that. So the as you said, Fizan. The first T20 international is Wednesday. What's Achal Char's comment, Fizan?
So he said here there's a good possibility of the T20s. He said a doubtful, and the ODIs confirmed being played behind closed doors.
India England series.
But does that help England? Which we can very briefly say, yeah, I think it does. I think the crowd helps India for sure. Like you're at home, so I don't think it's advantage England, but India will still be very strong. But I think it definitely it doesn't hamper India, but it doesn't give them that 12th man that is helpful in certain situations. What do you think?
Yeah,
agree, Vinny?
I agree. Like, I think it slightly reduces the advantage India will have if the crowd was there. And I think the crowd has helped India the last test match. Was it last 2 test matches they've had crowds? But
Just the last one, I think.
Chennai had a crowd.
No,
In the
Chennai
second.
did as well, didn't it? Yeah, they did. Yeah, and a very. Will England put out a weak team for the last test? No, they want to win it.
Yeah, they'll have to win it for pride. After getting bowled up for 2 days,
they're not going to put out a weak team. No way.
And moving on to final point, I'm really looking forward to this, Fazan. Afghanistan, Zimbabwe. The first test at Abu Dhabi begins on Tuesday. And Afghanistan head coach Lance Klusener is looking to take inspiration from the recent success against Ireland as to prepare for their upcoming test series against Zimbabwe. And to be honest, I'm really looking forward to this series because I think it's going to be a cracker, a tight, competitive one.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see how like Rashid Khan does in test matches because his record's not great, actually. He's a fantastic T20 bowler, we all know that. But test cricket is the ultimate test in terms of bowling and batting and just all disciplines. So it's interesting to see how he does there. I don't think it's been televised here in the UK, which is just a nightmare. Like it would be fantastic to maybe it is. I don't think it is.
A bit like the West Indies Bangladesh series. Is like, what was that televised anyway?
So I mean, imagine doing a live stream for Karl Myers getting 200 and chasing 395. Like it would be amazing just to watch, even if you don't live stream it. But just in general, like it would be a great experience.
I agree. It would have been good. Anyway, yes. Even the Jordan series, as Cash said, that will be an excellent achievement.
Yeah. And I predicted 2-2, so I'm hoping it happens. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So we shall see. So that test match begins on Thursday, I believe, Thursday morning. So yes, it's been a good series so far, and hopefully it lasts longer than 2 days.
And Charles looking forward to Afghanistan versus Zimbabwe as well. He says will be interesting. Afghanistan spinners will get a lot of purchase from the wickets in the UAE. Yeah, I mean Yasir Shah is a prime example of that. I mean he absolutely cleaned up in the UAE when we were using that as our home because obviously we weren't allowed to play in Pakistan. So UAE can be very helpful for spinners. So they should be able to utilize it. But they're very used to playing T20. So interesting to see how they play in the longer format. Let's see.
Yeah, that's for sure. So that's all the talking points done. Let's move on to the awards now, which are probably the best part of the show. So first up, star of the week. Who's the player of the week that we think has deserves it? So there's a few mentions. Maybe Mohammad Rizwan in the PSL, Babar Azam, Aksa Patel for India. Who else? Rohit Sharma potentially. I'm trying to think who's played well this week.
Well, I think, and like as I said, I'll be consistent with my thing. So when the PSL started on Saturday, right? Last Saturday. So obviously, as you said, Mohammad Rizwan's been very good, and there's been a couple of good performers in the PSL. But for me, Test cricket trumps all, and for me, Aksa Patel getting 11th. And despite the track and we talked about the pitch, but it's not his fault. And to get 11 wickets and to get more wickets than Ashwin, who's arguably the best spinner on the planet at the moment, I thought was a really impressive feat. And now back-to-back 10-plus wickets for him. So, I mean, it's his only second Test match as well. So, interesting to see how he does in non-spinning conditions, but his accuracy seems to be there. So, I think he'll still be pretty decent. For me, that would be my pick anyway. Yeah,
definitely Aksa Patel. So well done Aksa, for getting your first award on this show. So well done. In terms of team of the week, Fizan, I don't know. Like India obviously won. That's an obvious one. But New Zealand, considering they've won basically 2-0 up in the T20 series.
We could have given it to Devon Conway or Guptill, couldn't we? For player, but I think Aksa Patel trumps it. But yeah, we could give it to New Zealand or
even we could have given it to Tammy Beaumont because she's been batting really well in the ODI for the England women. But I think team, you could give it to England women.
Venu's just frozen. So whilst he's frozen, I think he was talking about the England women's and Tammy Beaumont obviously performing really well for them. team of the week, you've got India performed really well. In the PSL, you've got Bashar have been doing really well, but England women's have done fantastically well so far. And this is interesting. Cash says, shout out to Lendl Simmons, 145 domestic. I know, so that's in the Super 50, which is the Caribbean. It's what they use. So basically, it's a franchise.
Yeah,
but it's a 50 over franchise. It's like one of the only 50 over franchises that I've seen, and it's a Super 50. And what they do is, all the West Indies players, well, a lot of West Indies players anyway, if they want to play ODI cricket, they have to play in that tournament, and they use it as a yardstick for selection.
Oh, nice.
ODI. So it's a really good idea. I think more countries should do it. And I was talking to Nikhil Uttamchandani, who's a Caribbean like sports commentator journalist, and we were talking about it. And I said it was a fantastic thing. So yeah, Lendl Simmons is a good shout as well. But yeah, good suggestion, Cash.
Yeah.
But yeah, who would you give to team of the week then?
Either England women or New Zealand men's side for basically winning the respective series.
You can give it to England women's if you think. So what's the series there for England women's?
2-1. England won it 2-1 for the ODI series, and I think they look in good shape for the defense of the World Cup later on next year, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. Unless you want to give to New Zealand, either one's fine with me.
Well done. And let's hope Rory Burns doesn't get triggered more when we did that. So yeah.
And Charles says here, I think so. Indian saying, I think Conway deserves it for his 99 since he had no added advance from the conditions like Axar had. Controversial.
It was quality, but it's T20 internationals. We got to give.
It is quality, isn't it? And it's difficult because he's such a quality player and he doesn't really slog either.
He's class. I said
this to VENU, like he could play all three formats, and he's pretty new to the New Zealand setup. So I'm hoping he does play Test cricket, for example. Yeah, I mean, amidst the whole pitch controversy, but I mean, stats still stand out. And even though they were helpful conditions, I don't know. I'm happy to stick with Axar, I think.
Yeah,
what do you think, Benny?
100%. So in terms of what do we do next? The player that needs to do the homework, maybe the England batting unit, you could say, but over the pitch, you could blame the pitch, or you could blame the batsman potentially. Who else springs to mind? I don't know anyone in the PSL, to be honest. Maybe you could name any Fazan.
So who needs to do their homework? There's a few people, I guess. Yeah, I mean, in terms of who, I guess we're picking out a specific player. There's a lot of players that potentially could. From the India-England point of view, as you say, it's difficult. But if you want to take it from, a point of view of looking at, and this is really interesting, and Cash has said it. It's not a player though; it's a person. He says the groundsman needs to do his homework. So I was going to have for my fail of the week. I was going to say the pitch was the fail of the week, but Cash has said the groundsman needs to do his homework. I'm happy to go with that, but I don't mind.
Let's put groundsman needs to do the homework, and the pitch is the fail of the week. Let's do that.
Yeah. I think because a 2-day test match, either the pitch or a 2-day test match is a fail of the week, I think.
Yeah, it's not good for cricket, is it? And yeah, so that's that. In terms of moment of the week, what was the moment? I think today's PSL match was fantastic. I think the moment of the week was the penultimate over, Amir against David Weiss. Is it Weiss or Weiser? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Weiss, yeah.
But he hit 3 4s where he under-edged it, over-edged it over the keeper, and I just think, how lucky was he? How lucky was that? And that was the moment of the week for me, personally.
Yeah, I think so. Haris Arshad says facts, and I think he's agreeing with Cash, but probably about your moment of the week as well. Yeah, I think today's match was crazy, and I guess maybe because we were watching it so intently as well. But that penultimate over, I think they needed
30 of 2 overs.
Yeah, which is still pretty difficult. And I think the way that Mohammad Amir bowled, if those 2 4s hadn't happened, which very easily could have been dot balls, right? Then that's 18 needed of the last over. So and that's tough. That's still pretty tough. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That was an incredible match, and yeah, for me, I think that's a very good pick. I think for moment of the week. And just before we move on to the next award, Charles says, "Where does New Zealand get all these world class players with just several statesides and a small roster compared to their international counterparts?" That's a really good point. They're such a small population, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a really good point. I think it kind of reminds me of the Sri Lanka side when Sri Lanka had a really good like ODI team and T20 team and Test team, like when Sangakkara was around, Mahela around, Murali around. I think New Zealand are kind of that Sri Lanka team of that, the mid 2000s, late 2000s, where they just seem to have great players and a great squad. So it kind of reminds me of that. And yeah, I just think they've done something right. Maybe from youth cricket, they've done something right. So if I was a cricket administrator of another country, I'd be looking at New Zealand and thinking, what have they done? They've done something right.
Yeah, the infrastructure is clearly there. And the development of younger players, I think, in general, they seem to have a fantastic, absolutely fantastic infrastructure in place at the moment. So, yeah, and Cash says it here. He says they must have good coaching and domestic setup. Yeah, 100%. And Horace says he's veering on the edge of the cricket sphere, saying Fazan, that Manchester United game was dead. I didn't watch it, so I'm glad I didn't, because if it was dead, then it's Chelsea versus Man United. But who cares when you're watching the PSL and some absolute carnage cricket? But yeah, I agree with Cash there for sure.
Let's finally end with what I'm looking forward to next week. I'm really looking forward to the England-India Test match, the final one. I think it's going to be a good one, hopefully, if they put on a different pitch, hopefully, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of intrigue around the pitch, isn't there? People already watching it, seeing what's going to happen. I think it looks like it's going to be another quote-unquote dust bowl, but I don't think it being a dust bowl is an issue. It's just whether it plays like the last one. I don't really mind if it's a turning track within kind of reason that doesn't last 2 days. But let's see how it goes. Like, I think it's interesting to see whether England can bounce back as well and literally dust themselves off after being facing the dirt.
Dust themselves off. It was a dust bowl, wasn't it?
That's what I said. Yeah, literally dust themselves off. It's funny. Like, I said it multiple times, but we could have played tennis on that, man. That's kind of, it was almost clay like that surface. But yeah, I mean, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. I think it still sets up a very intriguing finale for the fourth test, and hopefully we get a result. And it's an exciting test match. There's what else is there? There's obviously PSL to look forward to, which I'm looking forward to, and Australia, New Zealand. There's test match, Afghanistan versus Zimbabwe, and Sri Lanka, West Indies. I'm hoping that's on BT. That might be. I'm kind of looking forward to those T20s as well. I think that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes, to be honest with you. So I'm sure you might not stay up to watch it, VENU, but the highlights will be exciting, I'm sure. And I'm interested to see how Sri Lanka, what type of team they put out. They've got a new captain in Shanaka as well. I'm sure Hasaranga will look very good in the T20s. So let's see how that goes. And just to, I guess, wrap up, VENU, Horace says, what would be your team for ODI and T20 for England? VENU, do you want to say?
As in...
So who would you pick for England in the ODIs and T20s? It's hard, isn't it? I can go first if you want, or we can do it together. I think T20s, who do you open up with? I guess you've got...
Hales, I'll open up with. Hales.
in the squad.
So it would just be the usual. Roy and Bairstow for T20s opening up. Davil Malan at number 3. Morgan number 4. Stokes number 5. Butland number 6. 7.
No Butler opening.
No, I don't think so. I think Butler can. He's a good player. You can shift him up and up the order if 5 overs left to go or 10 overs left to go. Just put him in. Yeah. So number 7, Moeen Ali. Number 8. I don't know. What would be our bowlers? Rashid will be in there. Wood will be in there. Archer will be in there.
And then you probably need. Do you need another spinner? No, you could probably have another fast bowler in T20s. Probably
Chris
have
Jordan.
Chris Jordan. Yeah, of course, Chris Jordan. I mean, they're
Or one
leading
of the current brothers. So yeah, it's just England have got.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of choice. Shall we do the ODI team?
Yeah, openers. What Besso Roy again? 3. You got Joe Root. Number 4. You got Morgan. Number 5.
Stokes.
6.
Butler.
You got Butler. 7. Moeen Ali again. 8. They would have Chris Wokes, but he's gone home, so I guess they'll put in someone like Sam Curran maybe.
Yeah.
At 8, and then 9. You've got Archer. 10. Rashid. 11. Wood.
Yeah, there's I think. Yeah, Chris Jordan definitely in the T20 team. Maybe if he plays well, maybe goes into the ODI team. But
yeah, Chris Jordan, the leading wicket taker for England in T20s. So
I didn't know that.
Crucial. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so I think that's everything, isn't that, Fizan? I think any more questions?
No, none at the moment. Thanks everyone as well for tuning in. I know it's just after the PSL, so people probably. But to get this many people and questions has been fantastic, and I'm sure we'll get more next week. And thank you, VENU, as well, for putting on a fantastic show once again.
No problem. Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone, and see you next week. Bye.